The child experiences in the first plane of development the most dramatic physical and psychological growth in children's lives. I mean, those first 6 years are extraordinary. We have a child that is born helpless and not able to move or speak. And at the end of 6 years, we have a child who knows their language, can speak it effectively, knows how to, sort of care for themselves, can walk and talk, all of it. It's a profound growth that occurs in these 6 short years. And as a result of this intense physical growth, this is a time when children need a lot of sleep. So they are filled with boundless energy when they're awake, but they also need more sleep than most other stages of development, and certainly more sleep than adults need. Because their bodies are going through such dramatic physical changes, they are more susceptible to some illnesses, simply because there's so much the body is doing. So it's not unusual for children to get a lot of colds and runny noses during this stage of their development, because there's so much going on. Young children use their senses to explore the world. They want to touch and taste and feel and smell, all of it. And they're really seeking, physical independence. They want to be able to do things themselves. And that's what they're striving for through these 6 years of development. So we've got this tremendous physical development that's occurred during these 6 years, but we also have a tremendous psychological development. The child's personality is really solidified in these first 6 years. They develop their will, their ability to choose and follow through on something. They develop memory. So all sorts of important psychological aspects are being developed during this stage as well. We have 2 things that support this. In the child's mind that Montessori saw, she called them the absorbent mind and the sensitive periods. Now, this plane of development can be divided into 2 subphases. Under the age of 3, the child's development is largely unconscious and in a certain sense, not really visible to the adult. But around the age of 3, this starts to shift to a more conscious development. The child is making more conscious choices about it, and the adult therefore can see more and have more influence. The environment for children under the age of 6 includes a safe and nurturing home environment, particularly under the age of 3. But around the age of 3, their need for social interaction increases. And so definitely a classroom experience where they can learn to develop some of the social skills that they'll need. Under the age of 3, they're largely going to be working alone, and that's developmentally all what they're capable of and what they need to be doing. So even if they're with peers of the same age, they're probably going to work side by side. But as they transition to that second subphase around the age of 3, they're more capable of broader social situations. So we talked about how there's 2 parts of the child's mind that support their development at this age, the absorbent mind and sensitive periods. So Montessori likened the absorbent mind to a camera. It sort of takes everything in that's in the environment without discrimination. Everything is just whatever's there, that impression is taken in. So children, this is where they can display this sort of effortless learning, where they're just taking it all in. And we have to be conscious that what we're giving to that highly absorbent mind is helping them to develop, that it is thoughtful and organized to support their learning. And then sensitive periods are these little windows of opportunity when there's a passionate interest or something in the environment is really drawing them, where they're just so focused. Perhaps they're just repeating a particular physical action again and again. And that's a sensitive period for movement, when they need to really refine that movement and they're drawn to it. There's sensitive periods for language, which is essentially the whole 6 years of a child's growth under the age of 6, where they're really receptive to language and want to practice their language, so that by the time they're 6, they can have between 5 and 10,000 words in their vocabulary. So we want to be sure that we're offering a very language-rich environment so that children can acquire that language. They're sensitive, a sensitive period to order. And that order is also, that's supporting the absorbent mind. If children are really focused on organizing their knowledge, building some classification systems in their mind, because they're taking in everything. So that sensitive period for order is really helping the child's development. And also there's a sensitive period for the refinement of sensory perceptions. And we can see that, right, in children, because they're so excited to touch and taste and hear and smell things in the environment. And that's those sensory perceptions that they need to refine and become more, develop stronger skills in. So we know children are building themselves, and it's a huge task under the age of 6. And what our environments do is, understand who this child is, understand the absorbent mind and the sensitive periods, and then provide environments and an adult who can best support self-construction at that age.